Hello everyone, it's Lawrence here from Unicorn Reviews, and today we're looking at the Asus Radeon R9 290X with the DCU cooler on there. So quick look around the box. It just says it has 4 gigs of memory. It's the Overclock edition, has some Digi VRM stuff and a GPU monitoring system that everyone uses Afterburner anyway. On the back we get some more about the Digi Plus VRM. A bunch of marketing stuff. Something, if you do pick this up in a store, that might be helpful is, actually you guys are watching it from that angle, so you get DisplayPort, HDMI to DVIs, but let's just have a look at the actual card itself. Comes in a pretty nice cardboard box. Okay, so in the first box with a lot of colors and letters, there's this incredibly simple styled box with a golden Asus "In Search of Incredible" slogan on there. So let's just open it up, and there's another box. This box holds the accessories. So inside of it you find a driver disc, but you should always get drivers from the website. Of course you should. 2 sets of metal stickers. So these are metal plates with collars on them that you stick onto the graphics card. You know, if you have a golden Asus board, you use this one. If you have an ROG board, you use this one. If you have a blue board, then you're pretty much screwed. There's also a little manual thingy and an 8-pin to dual 6-pin, but yeah, that could actually be helpful for cable management, but they didn't sleeve it, so quite useless. After that you get really cheap looking foam, but it's good foam. It just looks a bit cheap that it's in, you know, small cuts and everything, kind of like the Gigabyte approach, more in that area. And then there's the card itself. Let's just get this out of the way and get the card out of the bag. Okay, so the card itself, as you can see, 2 fans. This is one of those weird fans that has smaller blades here and then little pieces that stick out there and all of that stuff. So you get 3 heat pipes on this side, and then there's one on this side, but we'll watch that later. So it's a dual slot. Let's start at the back. So as you can see, it's raised up quite a bit, so this is not the reference PCB. So if you're going to put a water block on there, make sure you get the right one. So here are your 2 DVIs and then HDMI DisplayPort. A small cutout here that doesn't really do anything. On the top you get a 8-pin power connector and a 6-pin power connector. Of course this massive brace, and then an also massive heat pipe. Then moving towards the back, there's some protection on there, and then you see a lovely matte black aluminium backplate, you know, to keep everything rigid and cool as well, probably. There's some voltage measuring points with some LEDs in here from what I can see, and then on this side there's pretty much nothing. Now if you look at it from the bottom, you can see that there's a single massive heatsink throughout the entire length of the graphics card. The card itself, for people who struggle with small cases, is let's call it 28.7 centimeters long. But you know, because of the connectors being on the top, you shouldn't really struggle getting it into your case. So let's now move on to testing. Alright guys, gaming performance and the benchmarking and overclocking and all of that stuff. As we can see right here, this is Battlefield 4 on ultra settings, so just the ultra main selector. Let's get the focus somewhat decent, there we go. So we're getting around 100 FPS on Battlefield 4 at 1080p maxed out, so the ultra settings. For that we used these overclocks, so I'll just zoom you in. So I've enabled all the special settings, which means we're using 75 millivolts extra on both the core and on the... I have no idea where my mouse is. We're using the same amount of overvoltage on the auxiliary. We couldn't unlock memory voltage, sadly, but we're getting pretty good results here. Now we could go higher, but then the scores seemed to drop and the voltages had to go up, so this was what I found gave best performance. So we're using 30% power limit, well extra, so 130% limit, with 1100 megahertz on the core and 1500 on the memory, whereas stock it was at 1050 on the core and 1350 on memory. So we are getting a great overclock on the memory and an almost unnoticeable overclock on the core, and that kind of shows as well in performance, because with or without overclock we were only getting 4 or 5 FPS tops extra, and you know, if you're already at 100, we were getting about 5%. But I'll just show you all of our results now. Alright guys, Project Cars, pre-alpha build 750 I think it is. In the top left corner you should be able to see the frame rate once I get it in focus. I'll just read it for you guys, but we're getting around 25 FPS with maxed out settings with clouds, and it's about to rain and there's 20 cars on track. For Project Cars, that's actually at the moment amazing FPS, because AMD graphics cards are getting a bit mistreated. They'll fix that of course when the game gets released, but for now, you know, this is pretty much the heaviest, the hardest to render graphics you can throw at any graphics card at the moment, and this game seems to do with it, you know, okay. I mean, we're right now at 30 FPS, so console gamers are already freaking out because they're getting 30 FPS. So that's all amazing what we're getting from it. So let's move on to a conclusion now. Alright guys, time for the conclusion on the Asus R9 290X. It says X, so it's great, you know, X. And because of this X, we're giving it a gold award, because, you know, stuff with an X is cool. And the card isn't actually cool, but it is a pretty cool card, and it's also quite a powerful card. And so I'm just going to go into why I'm giving it this gold award. Pretty simple. It's the best performing single core AMD card out there, and you know, at launch they were incredibly expensive, but right now they're only 450 euros or something, and for that you get 780 titanium like performance, which is great, isn't it? Then there are also reasons, of course, why I'm not giving it the platinum award. For example, it doesn't overclock at all, like 5% overclock. That's quite disappointing, but I kind of already expected that from testing with the 290. So with that in mind, you know, we expected that. A bad thing about it though, and this is of course not Asus's fault, but this card produces so much heat. It's unbelievable. It's almost to a point where I'm afraid the plastic on the top of my case is going to melt, because it's just really hot. And you know, that's of course quite some exaggerating, but it does get pretty hot. And you know, I'm happy that there's a lovely backplate on it. The card just looks so great with that backplate and the front cooler and the changeable sticker colors, but I kind of wish they made a triple slot cooler for it, or an all-in-one loop like things like they did with Aries 2. That would have been amazing, and then it would easily get a platinum award. But for now, it's a gold award. If you like the video, press the like button. If you dislike the video, press the dislike button. Don't forget to subscribe, it really helps an awful lot, and leave a comment on what you think about the Asus R9 290X DCU II OC, which is 20% cooler and 3 times quieter, and it's quite loud, so I really don't want to know what the reference card is like. Thank you all very much for watching.